Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Hello and welcome to Audiobook Connection, behind the scenes with the creative teams. I'm Becky Parker Geist and I'm your host. Audiobook Connection is your place to learn about the audiobook creative process and for authors to learn valuable tips on producing and marketing your audiobooks. This podcast is sponsored by Pro Audio Voices, helping great stories come alive through audiobook production and marketing. Hello, and thank you for joining me today. So we're going to talk about some of those things that we don't really have much control over and how to be prepared when some of those things happen in your project. Now, if this were an audiobook recording, I would not be recording today. And the reason is that my nose has been a little stuffed up, so I know that I sound a little different than I normally do. So if I were recording an audiobook and I got into this state and then went into record, that session would sound different from what had gone previously. Being aware of that, if I were in the middle of an audiobook project, I would just take the time off and let my client know that I was not able to record for a while until I know that my voice is back to its normal state, its normal condition, so that I could be providing a consistent audio experience. Now, this may seem obvious, or maybe it's something that you haven't thought about, but it can significantly impact your project. And so we're going to go into some of the ways that that can happen. Over the last couple of years, as we're all dealing with the pandemic, we have certainly at Pro Audio Voices had many times where we've had narrators come down with COVID or other kinds of illnesses where they're not able to record. And most of the time, just communicating that to our author clients allows us to deal with any delays that may happen, deal with the expectations around when things are going to be done. So I'd just like to say to the narrators who are listening to this episode, please always let your clients know what's going on with your voice if you have a delay of some kind. Other things that are out of our control but can certainly happen are things like construction projects. If your narrator lives in an area where suddenly someone decides to renovate or to do a bunch of bulldozing or some other similar very noisy project, that can dramatically impact when they're able to record. And depending on the rest of their schedule, that can become really problematic. I'll say from personal experience that construction crews and businesses running construction projects don't care if their noise is negatively impacting someone else's business. Or at least, it's not going to make any difference in the amount of noise they're making or when they're making it. So we need to be aware of and compassionate towards the situation and work together to make a solution that's going to allow the project to keep moving forward as able. Other situations that come up that can impact the recording time are things like more people working from home and having kids who are in that picture, and therefore the sound of kids or the need to care for young children can have an impact on our ability to record. And there are lots of other things that can have an impact on the process and the schedule, not just the narrator, but also any other team members that are involved in the process, such as an audio editor that may be impacted in any of those ways, although the need to do it when they're not having a cold or something is not an issue. But the point is, there are lots of things that can get in the way in this sensitive process. So what we want to address is, how do we deal with it? And how can we turn the challenges into opportunities? Let's take a really short break. We'll come right back and dive into those questions. There is nothing like a great book to transport you to new worlds. Here at Pro Audio Voices, we love working on projects that transport the listener. We pay attention to the details, like making sure we have actors that can clearly differentiate the character voices, making for a great listening experience. If you have a book that you would like to get into audio, and you're looking for a team with a personalized approach, Pro Audio Voices might be just the right fit. Come visit us at proaudiovoices.com. Okay, so we've had a delay with our audio. We're partway into the project, but now things have slowed down. Here are some things that are important to keep in mind. If you are being super proactive about your marketing and you have got paid ads lined up for as soon as your audiobook is done, that is a risk. If you're operating on any kind of tight schedule or tight deadline, your risk increases. So what I would recommend is that if you have marketing campaigns scheduled, great, but I would strongly encourage you not to put a lot of paid advertising at the front end of those campaigns. Because if you do that, if you're going to lose that money if you don't have the audiobook finished, then, that's frustrating. That's hard. You're spending money, you're losing money that you've invested in your marketing, and you may not be able to recoup any of that. So, again, if you are doing paid advertising to market your audiobook, try to give yourself a good, solid buffer of time from the time you expect the audiobook to be done until that paid advertising kicks in. Another thing you can do is, especially if you have delays, but you can do this whether you have delays or not, you can take clips from the recordings that have already been completed and use those to do some interim marketing or marketing that is leading up to the release of the audiobook. But you may need a little kind of extra filler where you weren't expecting it. Using early clips from the recording still gives you the opportunity to get more word out about the upcoming audiobook. Use it in a kind of teaser way, but you don't need to actually have the complete audiobook done in order to have access to those kinds of audio clips. Other things you might just shift your attention to are making sure that your metadata is ready for when the audiobook files are complete, making sure that your cover image is already converted to the technical specs that are required. There are quite a few things that you'll need at the end of the recording process. Why not get ahead on those if you aren't already? And my biggest piece of advice is breathe and be compassionate. Just understand that there are a lot of things that are not in the control of the people who are trying to help you get your audiobook done. But do stay in touch with them. Do keep asking for clear communication about where things are in the process, what the anticipated delay time will be, when things may be able to move forward again, so that you can continue with your marketing plans and submission plans. And just as a bonus thought, if you have the ability to communicate with your team in ways that where you can send an e-card or a small something to wish the person well who may be ill, that's a really nice gesture. Narrators generally really appreciate it if they know that their authors care about them and their well-being. It really is a team. It's a partnership. Your audiobook producer, narrator, editor, all of those folks are working with you as a collaborative process. Showing that you care goes a long way. And that's it for today. That's a wrap, but I just wanted to share those thoughts while they were on my mind. I hope that you're well, and if there's any way that we can be of service to you, helping you figure out your audiobook project, please reach out to us at proaudiovoices.com. I look forward to talking with you. Thanks for joining us for Audiobook Connection, behind the scenes with the creative teams. Please take a moment to subscribe at audiobookconnection.com. The podcast is sponsored by Pro Audio Voices, helping great stories come alive through audiobook production and marketing. Learn more at proaudiovoices.com. Again, thanks for being with us, and please join us next week.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.